extra? Did they send you extra boxes of ink?
No, we had the initial one, and then we had the one that they gave us, right? And then we just never.
Well, see, I have the initial one plus 2 boxes of ink that they've sent me.
Yeah, I think they must have sent. We don't print. I bet you we print 30 pages a month, and so the second box they sent us is still there. They monitor, They monitor how much ink you use, and they'll say automatically they send you another box, and we just haven't. We still have lots of ink in that first set of cartridges they sent us because we just don't print that much, eh?
What do you do with the old cartridges that you can't use anymore? Same thing you have with Kathleen, I guess, or somebody.
No, there's a prepaid mailer. You send them back.
Yeah, these are full ones, but I'm saying.
Oh,
yeah,
for
the other printer, and I guess, like I think you said, Ron, that they only work with your specific printer. You can't give them to somebody else, I guess.
That's correct. Yeah, that's correct. Steve, go ahead.
Yeah, I've got a question that's more for Chris and Jim. On Sunday when they had the geeks on tour, Chris mentioned an app for the iPhone, QR bot. I looked for QR bot, but there wasn't anything that said specifically that. I just wondered if she knew who produced it or who was the developer for it.
Hang on a minute. She's coming. Oh, she's not.
I actually looked on the Apple site and it did say QR bot, but then when you went to it, they didn't call it QR bot. They called it the same as all the others that were up there.
Simple Google search says QR bot, QR code and barcode scanner.
Yeah, but then when you go to it, there is no app called QR bot, so it's difficult to know which one she was actually talking about.
If I go to the website, download our free barcode scanner and get it on Google Play or download from App Store. So it's just a simple search and following the search, and it's there for the App Store or for Google Play.
Yeah, but when you look on the App Store for Apple, there isn't anything called QR bot.
No, just go to QR bot, and on their page, you have a download on the App Store. It leads you directly to that download.
Yeah, but what I was trying to do is find the specific one she talked about.
All right. It's QR reader for iPhone. It doesn't say QR bot until after you install it.
Yeah, that's right.
QR reader for iPhone is the correct one, and it's just the way that Apple does it. By Cap Media.
Okay, good. All right, thanks.
Yeah.
All right, Zoom CCS.
Sorry about that. I'll rename that.
That's Tim.
Yeah. The problem with HP, I gave up on inkjets more than 2 decades ago, but I use lasers, monochrome and color. It's cheaper in the long run. But with HP printers in particular, the cartridges are very different. They have a microchip in them.
Right.
And in recent years, that's how they tie your cartridges to a specific printer, is through that chip, and get you the reordered ink automatically. The bad part too is the back side where the contacts are. You keep your hands off of that because your hands have natural oils on them, and it will cause problems with the contacts. So when you're handling the cartridge, keep your hands off of that and off the print head. And if you do that, the next step is in the wintertime, you have dry air outside. You bring it into your house and heat it up through your furnace, and the end result is the cartridges ink dry out faster. So you have to print at least 1 page every other day or every 2 days just to keep the ink flowing.
It
that helps
usually is
some.
that you keep your printer plugged in, don't disconnect, don't turn it off, and it
Yeah.
automatically recycles and keeps the ink fresh.
That's on the newer ones. If you got the older ones, they don't have that recycling.
Oh, they're really, really old.
Drew, go ahead.
Well, what I do for people who don't print a lot and have cartridges that go bad, I bought one of those air zip bag things. What do you call them? Vacuum sealers. And after every time I finish printing, I vacuum seal the cartridges back into a vacuum packaged environment so they don't dry out. And I find that saves a lot of money.
Yeah.
So Drew, we actually looked into that in the past, and Hewlett Packard does not recommend that you do that. And part of the reason is when the printer cartridge is sealed into the printer, it seals the print head and it keeps it moist. If you take that cartridge out, then that print head is going to dry in the printer, even if you put it in the bag. And so that was one of the first things when I went to Arizona, because Arizona is terrible for inkjet printer cartridges, particularly if you're only there for 6 months of the year. And we used to, so many people had bad printers because of that situation. But that was one of the big problems, as they were taking the cartridges out. Hewlett Packard recommends that you leave the cartridge plugged in, and also you leave your printer on, because it will go through a recycle feature and it will rejuvenate that print head and keep it moist. If that dries out, you're toast on that. So Chris, go ahead. Or Jim.
Yeah, that was the printer thing. We have an Epson Eco Tank printer, and you refill the tanks as they're needed, and there's no cartridges to go bad. And I've had it for over a year now. It's the first inkjet that I've had in a while. We always had color lasers when we were doing real printing, but this thing, it just doesn't dry up, and it seems to be running fine. I remember, I'm sure the technology has gotten better, but back in the old days, I would always be losing cartridges because they dried up or have to replace the heads, or, it's crazy. So I have a tank, and it's color, and it does a nice job, and it's fast, and it's
Is yours also an Epson?
Epson.
Yeah, that's what I have.
Yeah. Leo Laporte, we're going to talk a little bit about Leo later, but Leo Laporte, of course, is a radio broadcaster, and he used to have Epson as a sponsor for their show, their big Sunday show. And he was big on eco-tanks, and he talked a lot about eco-tanks, and he eventually dropped them, and he had a lot of complaints from people, particularly people who didn't print a lot right? Like, there's a lot of people that might print 2 pages a month, and eco-tanks for those are not good. At least that's the feeling is, because they just, you still need to have some flow through that ink. And
Ron, if you keep your printer on, then you have no problems. If you turn your printer off, you will have a problem if you don't print a lot.
And I know but he had a lot of complaints. I listen to his show all the time, and there were a lot of people complained about EcoTank. I think EcoTank is great, but I think you still have to print. You need to.
People will complain about anything, Ron.
Correct.
Correct. And Bob's absolutely right. If you keep it on, you don't have a problem. We don't print a lot. Maybe 30 pages a month, maybe a little bit more, but certainly not much. But and it's been fine, but I do keep it on. So unless we're away for a while, and then when I get back, I print some stuff. So
I've had mine for 3 years. I'm on my second set of ink in the printer. I have never, ever not had it print the first time I try it, but I never shut it off. Even when we go away, the printer stays on.
Okay. Well, I guess it's no big deal. I think the last time I left, I forgot to turn it off. So it did, anyway.
Huey, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a brother printer. Gosh, it's got to be close to 10 years old, and maybe even older. But I get remanufactured cartridges from some guy in Long Island who spoke to our user group, and they're really inexpensive. I get the whole set for less than $5. And I've never had a problem with them. If I do, let's see, I think I had one cartridge one time. He's just sent a replacement for free. But I every day at the same time I hear it recycle, and what it does it runs the heads and does some things to make sure that the ink is fresh. And so yes, you do not shut them off. You do not unplug them. They do go to sleep. So some people think that's turning them off, but it isn't. But it is a good idea to keep them plugged in and on.
Jim Glass.
Morning, y'all. I gave up on color printing because I wasn't doing much of it after I stopped doing my artwork for my wife. And I bought a really cheap Brother laser printer, black and white, and it just runs forever. And if you look at your printing habits, 90% of the printing, if not more, is black and white. So why waste inkjet cartridges when you've got the really inexpensive laser printer that you can use? I mean, I've had nothing but luck with this thing, and I even bought a refill kit and refilled it myself, and it worked just fine. And just goes and goes and goes. So
That's a great idea. And certainly those Brother black only LaserJet printers are $90, $100. They're great. They've made them for years and they just go forever. You're absolutely correct.
I just have a quick comment. You were talking about leaving it on. As a matter of fact, with my HP, I noticed with the newer one, even more so, it'll be going through maintenance modes. You'll say wait, and it does it frequently. So it's communicating with HP.
It is. It is. All right, we have 1 minute left. We've got to get the show rolling here. I'm just going to mute everybody and get ready to roll here. Good morning, everyone, and Merry Christmas. I'm Ron Brown. This is Tech for Senior. I'll be your host today. This is episode 142. It is December the 19th, 2022. And again, we want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas. We'll be with you today for about an hour. If you're watching this today, thank you for coming. We do appreciate you. If you're watching this as a YouTube live event, then welcome as well. If you're watching this as a YouTube short, just click the link and it'll take you right to the show. Today, we have a big show for you. We're going to do security news with Bob. Then Bob's going to tell you about a new search, I guess, sort of engine called Swirl. Bill is going to talk about Windows tips. I'm going to talk about Cardio Mobile and a smartwatch. Which one is better? Bob's going to talk about holiday scams and how to keep your money if you're doing some online shopping. Ray, of course, has his music outro, and we will then go into our question and answer. So we have a big show for you today. As part of our premiere service, which will be starting at 1:30, this is our premiere video. For those of you who subscribe to our Saturday newsletter, of course, you know the link already, but I'll put the link in the chat. I'm going to talk on live transcription in Zoom. This was a feature that came out about a year ago. I know many of you are using it, but you just might want to be aware of that again. Hewie's going to talk about Radio Garden. This was, you remember that, Hewie? You did that about a year ago, and that was a great talk, and we will certainly talk about that. And this, of course, and Bob is going to talk about Google Drive. Are things really private? What about your privacy? So you might want to listen to that. So it's a great video for you today, and we will have that for you at 1:30. Before I introduce everybody, speaking of radio, I had a very sad event on Sunday. For those of you who have listened to Leo Laporte for many, many years, I've probably listened to him over 15 years on radio. This Sunday was his last broadcast. He is leaving radio. Now he still will be doing podcasting, and he will have his Sunday show on. It'll be called something different, but it will be starting on January the 8th, but it will only be out as a podcast as he leaves radio. And I guess the question really is, what is the future of AM radio? And we talked a little bit about that on our Thursday show. So it's interesting the changes that are occurring. But anyway, he will be continuing on with his podcast. Now, many of you are wondering, I think Bill James asked earlier today, he says, what's this thing behind you? You don't have your usual Tech for Seniors screen up. And of course, this was Project Atticus. Project Atticus was one of the featured channels that we do on our Saturday newsletter. As part of our Saturday newsletter, we each week I put in my favorite channel, and this channel, of course, is about Jordan and Desiree as they travel around in their sailboat. They've traveled across the Atlantic and are now in the Mediterranean and are visiting Malta, where they will be there for the next 6 months. And Desiree was pregnant, so she's going to be, she actually delivered on Saturday, and they have a new baby. And this baby will be going with them, traveling in around the Mediterranean. And as they travel around the world in their boat, they film this and they put it up onto their YouTube channel. They're very good videographers and storytellers. And if you want to learn about Malta, the link also in that on the Saturday newsletter takes you right to one of their recent videos on what is Malta, where is Malta, and so on and so forth. So very, very interesting. Also, if you noticed on our Saturday newsletter, Mike Ungerman has a regular feature now on EV cars and or vehicles. And this will be a playlist that he has, and you can just click the playlist. Now, it might always look like it's the same thing in the video in the newsletter, but he it continually adds videos about EV cars and purchasing cars and so on and so forth to the playlist there. So if you are interested in EV cars or cars, just click that and you'll find lots of information. And that is a new feature in our Saturday newsletter. And then, of course, we have our Thursday show, which this week we will be talking about on our Thursday show, going over the news of the week. And after that, Hewie, we have Learning Chromebooks, right?
Yes.
We have Learning Chrome. We missed it last month, but with this month we have Learning Chromebooks. So if you have a Chromebook, you want to find more about it, we should just click the link. It's on techforsenior.com. And just go there and you can click the link and you can register. If you are registered, I guess, Hugh, you're going to send out notifications today and Thursday, right?
Yes.
So if you are registered, you don't have to do anything. You'll get an email today just confirming that we'll be there on Thursday. So we'll have a show for you on Thursday right after our Tech for Senior Live, right?
Yes, and it will have a link with your unique password and log on.
Log on. Perfect. Okay. So that's so we have a busy week this week before Christmas. Let's just go over everyone quickly and talk to Hewie. You're doing okay? Everything's going fine with you?
Yeah, in fact, last week we had our first physical, not Zoom get together for the Sarasota Technology User Group. We had over 70 people sign up for it, but we had a tremendous rainstorm, and so several people just didn't show up. But we had over 50 people there, and it was the first gathering we've had. We've tried a couple of Zoom meetings where we had people live and online, and we just didn't get enough people in the live audience to make it worthwhile setting it all up and doing it. So we've gone back to straight Zoom. So this was our first get together in about almost 3 years. And we had a good crowd. We had a lot of fun. We were there for about 2.5 hours, and I got to meet in person Drew King, we've known each other online but never had met, and several other even officers of the organization I met for the first time. So it was a lot of fun.
I bet people maybe don't understand, but we've never met.
Yeah, you and I haven't.
We never met.
Yeah, the rest of us on the show have all met each other.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
But you and I have never met.
Never
and
met.
we're about 2,700 miles apart. So
it is, yeah. Bob, your voice is getting better.
Hallelujah. It's nice to have it coming back.
Yeah.
Although some people might not think that, but yes, it is coming back. Little by little.
Yeah,
It's
and you've
certainly taken a long time.
Long time. You've had some great videos out this week too. We'll talk. Some of those are going to be played today. So keep up the great work.
You.
And Ray, I thought you'd be out shoveling snow.
No, we got about 4 inches. Typically, I wait 2 days and it's gone because daytime temperatures here are in the 40s and 50s through most of the winter. But this past week, that's been hovering at about 32 in the daytime and down into the low 20s at night. So we have a little bit of ice, but it's almost gone.
There you go. So what's happening in Oklahoma, Bill? Have you got snow there? What's going on?
Oh, it's a nice day today. It's 49 degrees, almost 50.
Oh, really?
So,
really?
I don't think we have any snow in the forecast for the next couple weeks.
Right.
So it's going to be nice.
Oh, good. Good. Are you ready for Christmas?
Just about. I think I've got all my shopping done.
I can hardly wait till after Christmas to find out what you got for Christmas.
I think I've got all my Christmas things early this year. I bought a new printer and a new TV. So
yeah,
that's my Christmas.
There you go. Well, anyway, so listen, Merry Christmas to all our staff and everyone and all the audience today as well. Thank you and we really do appreciate, thank you for coming. And we really appreciate people who donate. Irving Gersovich, I want to thank you so much for your donation to our coffee fund. That was a very generous donation, and it certainly helps us pay the bills. So thanks so much, Irving. Good one. All right, Bob, are you ready to go?
I hope as soon as I get the right, well, as soon as I get to the right place. Come on. Here is the Avast Security News Roundup for the week ending December 16th, 2022. Microsoft signed malicious Windows drivers used in ransomware attacks. Microsoft has revoked several Microsoft hardware developer accounts after drivers signed through their profiles were used in cyber attacks, including ransomware incidents. The news comes in a coordinated disclosure between Microsoft, Mandiant, Sophos, and Sentinel-1. The researchers explain that threat actors are utilizing malicious kernel mode hardware drivers whose trust was verified with authentic code signatures from Microsoft's Windows Hardware Developer Program. Read more at Bleeping Computer. Don't fall for these common holiday scams. The holiday season is here, whether you're happy about it or are a Grinch. It's a time to shop, enjoy the festivities, and spend time with family. But make sure you avoid all the holiday fraud. Unfortunately, every year, thousands of people fall victim to scams. This time of year is the worst regarding online, mail, and text scams. And when you're busy buying gifts and traveling, the last thing you want to deal with is a spammer, fraud, or someone trying to steal your hard-earned money, identity, or account info. Read more at Review Geek or watch my article on this topic by following the YouTube link listed. It's that time, December 2022 Patch Tuesday. Get latest security updates from Microsoft and more. Tech giant Microsoft released its last set of monthly security updates for 2022 with fixes for 49 vulnerabilities across its software products. Of the 49 bugs, 6 are rated critical, 40 are rated important, and 3 are rated moderate in severity. The updates are in addition to 24 vulnerabilities that have been addressed in the Chromium-based Edge browser since the start of the month. December's Patch Tuesday plugs 2 zero-day vulnerabilities, one that's actively exploited, and other issues that's listed as publicly disclosed at the time of release. Make sure you update as soon as possible if you're running a Windows system. Read more at the Hacker News. There's a new actively exploited zero-day vulnerability discovered in Apple products. Apple on Tuesday rolled out security updates to iOS, iPad OS, Mac OS, TV OS, and Safari web browser to address a new zero-day vulnerability that could result in the execution of malicious code. Tracked as CVE 2022-42856, the issue has been described by the tech giant as a type confusion issue in the WebKit browser engine that could be triggered when processing specially crafted content, leading to arbitrary code execution. The company said it's aware of a report that this issue may have been actively exploited against versions of iOS released before iOS 15.1. If you haven't updated, do it now. See the Hacker News for more. 3.5 million IP cameras exposed, and the US is in the lead. The number of internet-facing cameras in the world is growing exponentially. Some of the most popular brands don't enforce a strong password policy, meaning anyone can peer into their owners' lives. When you spy on your neighborhood or your cafe customers, do you wonder if someone is watching Big Brother? You, in this case. Businesses and homeowners increasingly rely on internet-protected IP cameras for surveillance. All too often, this gives them a false sense of security when in fact, threat actors can not only access and watch your camera feed, but exploit the unsecured device to hack into your network. For more details, see Cyber News. Surprise, surprise! Security researchers discovered 22 issues in Google One VPN. After conducting a security assessment of the Google One VPN service, NCC Group listed 22 issues, with the majority of them present on Windows and iOS applications. VPN by Google One is currently available to Google One members on premium plans 2 terabyte and higher in more than 20 countries. An information assurance firm, NCC Group, conducted a security assessment of Google One Virtual Private Network during the summer. In a 52-page report, it said it had made 22 initial discoveries. 3 were medium severity findings, 10 were rated as low severity, and 9 described as informational observations. See Cyber News for more. The Senate passes legislation to ban TikTok from U.S. government devices. The Senate passed legislation Wednesday evening to ban TikTok from U.S. government devices in a move designed to limit perceived information security risks stemming from the social media app. The vote, by unanimous consent, approved the No TikTok on Government Devices Act, a bill authored by Senator Josh Hawley. The move marks lawmakers' latest step against the short-form video app that has become popular with over 1 billion users worldwide. U.S. officials fear that TikTok users' data could end up in the hands of the Chinese government due to the country's influence over TikTok's parent, ByteDance. I've mentioned something about TikTok's insecurities and other concerns almost every week. To learn more, see CNN Business. This week's must-read on the Avast blog. Find out all about Avast's 3 major cybersecurity predictions for 2023. You can read the article at the link listed or watch my video on this topic by following the YouTube link. Did you know that selfies now cause more deaths than shark attacks? It is estimated there are 28 selfie-related deaths per year, with the leading cause being heights. The most expensive domain name ever sold was Cars.com for an astounding $872.3 million. In 1971, Computer Space was the first mass-produced coin-operated arcade video game. And during this week, a computer received the honors as 1982's greatest influence for good or evil. Just thought you might want to know. That wraps up this week's Avast Security News Roundup. Stay safe, stay secure, and I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye. Let's move on to the next item. SWURL, a different way to search, and a different way to see your search results. SWURL isn't a search engine. SWURL is a search portal. You search SWURL via the internet by following the link listed. I first heard about this via one of the many newsletters I receive and thought it would be a great tool for all to try. I've also featured it in Tuesday's Tech for Seniors newsletter. To get to Tech for Seniors, just follow the link listed. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and get involved. Once you open the website, you'll notice that the interface is very simple. Type in your search request, and you'll see your results. How the results are shared is where the difference between this search portal and other search results differ, as you'll soon see. The next slide will show you a few options that are available when making a search. The search we'll be doing will be for Bob 3160. You'll notice it's entered in quotes to signify that I only want results for what's typed. Selecting the little down arrow on the extreme right of the search box brings up the options available, and normally this isn't selected unless you're interested in one of those options. Next, we'll go directly to the SWURL website so I can show you the results of that search for Bob 3160. So I've opened the web browser to the SWURL website, and I've done a search for Bob 3160. This is where the difference comes in. When you do the search in SWURL, you not only get the Google search results, but you also get Instagram, YouTube, and images associated with the search that was made. If I were using just the regular Google search, here are my results. And as you see, they're just the regular results. And if I go back to SWURL, these are all generated from Google search, which is the default search engine if you don't make any changes in this section here, where you can select, for instance, Bing as a default. Without making any changes in here, your search results, the main search, is Google. But you also get from Instagram, and you can go to any one of these pages that are on here. And as you can see, you can scroll each individual column. You're actually getting, depending on what services you use, a display of all the different services that come up when you do a search, displayed in one simple page, and you can access any one of these. That's the big difference. If you were using just the Google search, this is what you have. Yes, you can from here go to images, videos, shopping, maps, news, books, but they're all going to overwrite the original page, whereas in SWURL, they're individual columns, and you can access any one of the columns. A great little tool to use if you do lots of searches and want access to many things all at the same time. Give it a try. Hopefully you'll like it as much as I did. One other thing I might point out in these settings, once you've used it for a while, if this is something you want to use on a regular basis, you can make this your default search. Set SWURL search as default. If you select that, then this becomes your default setting anytime you do a search. Stay safe, stay secure. I hope this helps. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Bob. That's that's great. Just let everyone know, I use this all the time now. When Bob showed me this, I said, Bob, this is absolutely great. You've got to make a video about it. We've got to show everybody. Since I do a lot of work looking for news articles and topics that we need to show on the show, this is a game changer. It is really good. I would encourage you to give it a try. I'm using it all the time. Using it, Bob? Are you using it frequently?
Oh yeah, I use it.
Yeah.
That's why I made the video.
Yeah. It's a good one. It's a good one. It's really good. Okay. Where's Bill? Bill, are you? Oh, here you are. There you are, right there, right in front of me. Do you want to take it away?
I will. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. So I'm going to share my screen. We're going to talk about 4 Windows tips this morning. Accessing your apps in the start menu in Windows 10. A little takeoff of about what Bob's doing, change the default search engine in the address bar on Edge, and then add a home button in Edge, and then pin the Edge browser website to the taskbar. So these tips actually are more focused on Microsoft Edge and not some of the other search engines. So if you want to, if you're like me, some people, when you look at your start menu, you may have it rather compact like this. It just depends on how you set your defaults. But say, for instance, if you want to be able to access all apps within the start menu, you can change that. Currently, to get to all apps, you would go here and then click on this button, and then it would show you all the apps you have installed on your computer. But you can have that the all apps session as part of your start menu by going to settings, personalization, and then here click on start and just switch on show apps list and start menu. And that will then, when you click on your start menu, you now have all the apps showing as part of your start menu. It takes up more space. If you want to differently and not have this showing at all, you can do the same thing by turning it off. And then you're more view. So it's an option. So now if we want to change the default search engine, and I do a lot of searching in using my address bar a lot. I just from here. And right now it's this can be changed to be whatever default that you want. So what we will do here is just go to the three dots, or what they call the ellipse over here. And we then want to go down to settings. And then we want to go to privacy, search, and services. And then you have to scroll all the way down to the bottom. And you'll see address bar and search. So you can click here. And then as you can see that normally the default search engine for Edge is Bing, but you can change it to Yahoo, Google, or DuckDuckGo. Those are some of the choices. You pick the one that you want to use. I want to use Google. Then now, when I do a search in the in my search bar, it will be using the Google search engine. How many times do you would like to have a dedicated home button to a particular site that you like? In Edge, you can change the default here, where you see the home button. And when you click on the home button, it takes you to a page. Like in this case, it's MSN. But say, for instance, if I have a particular site that I want to always have as my home page, I can change that. So to do that, I want to then go down to settings here. I want to go to appearance. And then you'd be amazed the number of settings that are under appearance that we probably never realized that was here. But there is a button here that says home button. And right now I can change that by changing the set button URL. And here I'm going to now click where I'm able to change the URL. And let's just say I like to have my home button to be NASCAR. So I'm just going to type in HTTP NASCAR.com. And then I'm going to click on save. So now, when I open up my browser, it's always going to come up to usually whatever you last had up. Like it always starts in a new tab. But if I hit my home button now, I should come up with the NASCAR site. So I can add another, I can do, bring up some other website if I want. And if I want, I always go back to my home button. I can just press home and I'll always have NASCAR website on page. And lastly, if you are one that wants to have a website pinned to your taskbar that you use frequently, you can do that as well. So what we'll do here again is go to our ellipses. Then we'll want to go to apps. And then we want to go down to more tools. And here you can see where you can pin. I can pin my NASCAR website to my taskbar just like here. And now, as you can see, when I bring up my taskbar, I have the NASCAR website here as well. You can use this for your bank or any website that you use frequently. So that's things that you can do with Microsoft Edge. And I hope that you can, I hope these were helpful to you. So with that, I will give the mic back to Ron.
Thanks, Bill. Thank you very much. Just stop your sharing. Where did you go? I think if there you go. Great. Thanks, Bill. That was good tips. Good tips. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you so much. So much to know, so much to learn. And I think the best way to do it is in little chunks as we move ahead. So we'll keep doing this and and we'll keep learning. So thanks so much. Now let's move on. We're going to talk about.
Who stopped the recording? Ron?
Really? Well, we just changed it. We'll just put it back on. All right. Let's go. Let's see what we have I have for you today. Cardia mobile device or your smartwatch? Do they do the same thing? Which one would I recommend? It's Ron Brown with Tech for Senior. This week a viewer asked me which one I would recommend for her father. She asked me if they did the same things, and I had to say, well, sort of. Same thing that happened last week. All right, no big deal. Hold on. We'll try that again. Cardia mobile device or your smartwatch? Do they do the same thing? Which one would I recommend? It's Ron Brown with Tech for Senior. This week a viewer asked me which one I would recommend for her father. She asked me if they did the same things, and I had to say, well, sort of. Let me explain my response. So first of all, let me explain what this Cardia mobile device is. Many of you are wondering what I'm talking about. Now we all know what a smartwatch is. This, of course, is my Fitbit Sense. So Cardia mobile is a little device that I'm showing you here. And you put your 2 fingers on the right side, 2 fingers on the left side, and this actually does an ECG. Now it does it through an app on your phone. So yes, you do need a smartphone. Yes, you do need to download the app. And the two are connected by Bluetooth. It's available for iOS and Android. And this little device is fairly tiny, and this is a holder for it. And I even have it so you can put it on a key ring. You'll see it sort of in the palm of my hands. It's very tiny. This device was cleared in 2012 by the FDA for doing an ECG and interpreting it as to whether or not you have atrial fibrillation or not. As a physician, I spent most of my life helping folks like you. Now I've retired. I spend most of my time making health-related videos about smartwatches, and I've made more than 22 videos about smartwatches and your health. In this video, to keep it short, I'm going to constantly refer to some of the other videos and put the links in the description for you. So if you don't understand something, the link will be down in the description and you can play that video. So let's get on with it. Oh, don't forget to like and subscribe, please. So the first thing we have to do is talk about two common medical conditions you'll be faced with that go up exponentially after the age of 60. The first one we're going to talk about is atrial fibrillation. And in this diagram, you'll see that when we turn 60, that you'll find that the incidence of atrial fibrillation goes up exponentially with age. So what does all that mean? Well, you don't have to know anything about atrial fibrillation except the 4 things I'm going to tell you about now. And the first thing you have to know is that after you saw that graph, you'll understand that it's common. It is very, very common, and it goes up exponentially as you get older. The second thing is that you need to know that atrial fibrillation is often associated with a fast heart rate. So you can sometimes pick it up by measuring your pulse. The third thing you need to know is that it's often asymptomatic. In other words, people don't know they have it. And it's estimated about 30% of people with atrial fibrillation don't know they have it. And that's an important point we'll come back to. And the fourth one's the biggie. This is the biggie. It's the third cause of stroke. And this is preventable. So if we can find folks that have atrial fibrillation that don't know they have it and get them treatment, we can prevent a lot of strokes. And heck, who wants a stroke? The second medical problem that you may encounter is exactly the opposite. Instead of your heart going too fast, it's going to go too slow. In other words, it just wears out. You know, I mean, our knees wear out and we get new knees, our hips wear out, we get new hips. Cataracts get replaced. Well, your heart just wears out and it starts to slow down. And you might require a pacemaker. And as you can see in this study from New Zealand, the incidence of pacemaker insertion goes up, guess what? Exponentially as you get older. So the older you get, the more likely it's going to be that you're going to require a pacemaker. So what are the symptoms? Well, bad news. You know, those are the older people that are driving down the highway and they just lose consciousness and have some very bad results. Or those are people that are home and get dizzy, fall and break their hip. So this is a bad thing that happen. And so this is something that can be picked up by a slow pulse. This is basically what happens is your pulse gets slower and slower and slower until there's not enough oxygen going up to the brain because the flow is so low. Again, this is quite easy to pick up because it's related to your heart rate. So obviously we want to measure your heart rate. Yes, Cardio Mobile will do that. Yes, my smartwatch will do that. But any watch over $10 will easily measure your heart rate. All watches do that, and they usually will tell you if you're going too fast or too slow. So what I simply recommend is that maybe you set the top number to about 130. If it goes over 130, maybe see your doctor, have it analyzed because maybe that's atrial fibrillation. And I would set the low at 60. And if it goes, your heart rate goes below 60, then you might want to see your doctor and find out, hey, is everything okay here? And that could be done with just a $10 device. Put it on your wrist and just measure your heart rate. And remember, too fast, it might be atrial fibrillation. Too slow, you might need a pacemaker. Simple, $10 investment. All right, let's say your heart starts to flutter. Your $10 watch tells you your heart is going over 130. And after watching this video, you wonder, do you have atrial fibrillation? Wouldn't it be interesting if you could do some sort of test that would tell you if you do or do not have atrial fibrillation without having to go to the doctor? Well, in fact, that's what we call an ECG. And the first device to be able to do that, of course, was this little device here, KardioMobile. Yes, in 2011, this was the first device that came out that actually did an ECG and would interpret it as to whether or not you had atrial fibrillation. They then taught Apple how to do it, and the Apple Watch was the first watch to be able to do ECG. Following this, of course, the Fitbit Sense, the Samsung watches 3, 4, and 5 did that, and of course, we now have the Pixel Watch does it as well. So we're now able to, all these devices can do FDA approved, because these are actually medical devices, FDA cleared ECGs, but the only thing they do is they tell you if you do or do not have atrial fibrillation. These don't do the same type of ECGs we do in the emergency department in the hospital. So that's important for you to know. All right, so far these two look pretty similar, right? KardioMobile versus your smartwatch. Well, this past year there was a big game changer. Let's look back at this. Both those devices, you have to have symptoms, then you actually do a manual ECG. You activate it on your watch, which means you have to sort of push the bezel, or you have to do, everyone's a little bit different, but it's a manual process that you have to activate. The same thing on KardioMobile. You have to get your device out, put your fingers on it, and activate it. But remember what I told you earlier. I told you that 30% of people with atrial fibrillation have no symptoms. So how's that going to work? Wouldn't it be interesting if these devices that were on your wrist would just simply continuously monitor your heart rate and tell you if you have atrial fibrillation? That'd be a game changer, right? And that happened this year, folks. This was so important and didn't really get the press I think it deserved. It was called irregular heart rate notification. And this is a feature that is on the Apple Watch, and it goes back to a whole bunch of earlier Apple Watches as well. The same thing happened with Fitbit. The Fitbit line not only was the Sense, which does the ECG, but the irregular heart rate notification went to a wide variety of models of the Fitbit line. And the same thing with the Galaxy Watch as well, does the irregular heart rate notification. This is incredible because what it does is it monitors your heart rate without you actually having to activate an ECG. It looks for atrial fibrillation. Now, this doesn't continuously do this on a 24/7 period. What it does is it selects certain times of the day and does random sampling to see if you have atrial fibrillation. It mostly does this at night. And that's another clue I'm going to give you. If you do have any of these smart devices and you're concerned about monitoring your heart rate, you always want to wear that watch to bed with you at night. I know if you have always taken your watch off at bedtime, you just have to get used to wearing your watch at night because that's when a lot of this monitoring occurs. Yes, it monitors it and it will send you a notification if you have atrial fibrillation. This is huge because now we can monitor ourselves and find out if we are going into atrial fibrillation when we don't even know it and get treatment for that and prevent a stroke. That's why I wear my Fitbit Sense. I don't want to have a stroke. Now, I've produced a video, how to prevent a stroke with a smartwatch, which explains all this, how to install it, how the app works, everything you need to know about this feature. I'll put the link down below and you can just click that and watch that video. All right, because of the irregular heart rate notification, my vote is going to go towards the devices you wear on your wrist because you can get continuous monitoring. Of course, you can't get continuous monitoring with this device because you have to pull it out and do a manual ECG. So what are my final thoughts about this device? Well, it's interesting because this device actually comes in 2 different models. There is a model that's more expensive, and it's called the 6L KardioMobile device. This device gives a 6-lead ECG. Now, you don't need to know what a 6-lead ECG means, but it's almost as good as a hospital ECG. It provides an incredible amount of information about your heart, something the other devices just don't do. The problem is the type of information it's going to give you really needs to be interpreted by a healthcare provider, most likely a cardiologist. So in certain situations, this could be beneficial, but you'd have to talk to your healthcare provider because they would play a key role in getting that information, interpreting it, and giving you advice back. So it's something that you really need to talk to your healthcare provider before spending your money on the 6L version of the KardioMobile device. It's Ron Brown with Tech for Senior. If you enjoyed the video, please. Okay, okay, Bob, take it away.
Don't fall for these common holiday scams. The holiday season is here. Whether you're happy about it or are a Grinch, it's a time to shop, enjoy the festivities, and spend time with family. But make sure you avoid all the holiday fraud. Unfortunately, every year, thousands of people fall victim to scams. My thanks to Corey Gunther for his excellent article on this topic. Please read his article at the link listed. Delivery confirmation text scams. Everyone shops online these days, and all those orders shipped to your house are a big target for theft. We already have to deal with porch pirates trying to steal packages from the front door. However, the biggest threat is all those fraudulent text messages and spam about delivery attempts. Confirm for delivery or shipment delayed. While this isn't new, it's a growing problem that reemerges every holiday season. Scammers send fake text messages claiming that a package is delayed or that you need to confirm the delivery. These messages almost always have a link for you to click, but don't click on the link. Just don't do it. Let it sink in. That call from Amazon, Apple, or Walmart is fake. A similar yet different spam approach is that dreaded phone call. And no, Amazon, Apple, Walmart, Best Buy, or other sites will likely never call you. You will never get a phone call from Amazon about fraud on your account, an Apple employee saying your iCloud was hacked, or anything of that nature. This scam is similar to those old Microsoft fraudulent phone calls. This type of scam often uses the tactic of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Sum them up as FUD. The caller will claim your account got hacked. Someone bought an iPhone using your account, or your Amazon profile could get deleted. They'll help you fix the problem immediately. Just don't fall for it. Avoid Secret Sister and Secret Santa gift exchanges. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with a fun Secret Santa gift exchange with friends, families, or co-workers around the office. But that's where this trend should stop. You'll want to absolutely avoid any Secret Sister trends online. Avoid gift exchanges or anything similar that doesn't involve being in person for the trade. Next, we'll cover a few other scams. Unfortunately, the season of giving doesn't stop bad actors. Just like us, it's their busiest time of the year. I've highlighted a few popular scams in preceding slides, but those aren't the only ones. According to the FBI, in 2021's crime report, consumers lost hundreds of millions of dollars during holiday scams. Google blocks over 15 million scam emails daily this time of year, which is mind-boggling, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. So here are a few other scams you want to be mindful of and avoid. Giveaways. Many brands do giveaways during the holiday, but avoid giveaways from unknown sources or if it asks you to enter your credit card info. Fake charities. Phone calls, texts, and even letters in the mail from organizations with familiar but fake names will ask for charitable donations. Don't do it. Public Wi-Fi. That Wi-Fi at Starbucks or a hotel can be a lifesaver while traveling, but be careful. Hackers target public Wi-Fi with dangerous pop-ups. Free Wi-Fi isn't always secure, so don't access your bank account or log into sensitive sites on public Wi-Fi. That's where a VPN would come in very handy. Targeted emails. Watch out for emails that include specific or targeted information about you or your demographic, whether that's a fake email from a previous job, a recent vacation you posted on social media, or phony bank notices. Fake stores on social media. Fraudsters will go as far as creating a fake website and use ads on social media displaying huge discounts to trick consumers. Look for HTTPS in the URL. The S stands for secure. Better yet, only buy from sites you know and trust. Card skimming. Card skimming at ATM, gas stations, and payment terminals is still a big problem. Thieves install reading devices on top of existing devices to steal your credit card info. Use a credit card instead of a debit card for more protection. And don't save your credit card info on retail sites because digital skimming can happen too. Subscription renewals. Watch out for spoof emails from antivirus services, streaming platforms, and other suspicious subscription services. Scammers make these emails look real, so use caution. Crypto scams. Finally, we must mention cryptocurrency. Never share your wallet passphrase with anyone, and never ever send a stranger crypto. Even if you get a threatening email, a blackmail attempt, or promises of huge returns, avoid it all. Here are some tips to avoid holiday scams or fraud. Most importantly, use common sense. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And remember, nothing is ever totally free. You'll want to be hesitant about unknown or unwanted calls, texts, or emails. Don't share your personal or banking information with sites you don't know and trust. Research any retailers you don't know. Never click on random links, no matter where they come from. Be wary of anything that sounds suspicious and include a gift card. More importantly, use a credit card whenever possible for all the added protections. Stay safe, stay secure, and have a happy holiday season. Bye-bye.
Good advice, Bob. Thanks a lot. Keep safe. We want to keep everyone safe for sure. Ray, just before we get started, I just want to say goodbye to everybody over on our YouTube feed. Thank you for coming. Have a Merry Christmas. Don't forget our premiere service will be at 1/2 premiere video. We will hopefully see you again. And don't forget next week about our Thursday show and learning Chromebooks.